今天很高兴大家一起跟我们在一大早的时候在线上了解如何面对亚裔仇恨犯罪 How to stop the Asian hate crime 我们今天很高兴线上有我们的Police Chief John in Control 是我们今天最主要的对象，希望大家有任何问题提前在 chat room 里面放进你的问题。谢谢我们的副会长有央劝当今天的主持，另外还有我们做翻译的群燕，非常谢谢大家，希望大家有问题有任何的情况放在 chat room 里面 Let us know what you need OK 现在我就把时间交给央劝，谢谢我们的副会长 Thank you
Thank you, Maggie. Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for attending this very important meeting. As we know, this year has been, well, starting from last year, been a very tough year for everybody. And now we're dealing with another set of issues, which is the, increase of crimes against Asian Pacific Islanders. So we wanted to hold this forum today and invite our police chief, Chief in Contro, to join us today to talk a little bit about kind of what's going on in our city specifically, and also give us some guidelines for how we should deal with this type of activity in our neighborhood, including in our daily lives and also for our kids, and what are the types of things that we can do to also assist the police force in trying to help keep everyone safe and keep everything good for the community.
你要我帮你翻译中文吗？你还是
谢谢。
当然要了，
大家早上好，代表是马利诺华协我们的副会长央倩呢，欢迎大家今天参加我们的活动。这个活动主要就像我们会长说的，是关于这个亚裔仇恨犯罪最近在全美国发生的事情。今天我们特别邀请了我们圣马利诺的警察局局长呢，来跟大家聊聊，就是目前我们圣马利诺市之间有没有这些问题，那还有说如果真的遇到这些问题要怎么样防范。那也希望大家，因为我们大家都住在这里，然后我们有小孩子上学，你在每一天的生活当中，如果碰到像这样的问题的时候，你该怎么样面对讨论？那我们今天会让我们的警察局长跟大家解释这些，但是也欢迎大家把自己想问的问题呢，可以放在这个就 chat 打上去，然后我们会透过询问的问答方法，让警察来对我们做解释。Thanks. Okay, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chingyan. So I'd like to turn it over to Chief in Contro to talk a little bit about what the department is doing in terms of education against anti-Asian crime.
Yeah. 我们现在就请警察局长就根据他们自己在警察局里面，他们关于这个亚裔仇恨犯罪他们怎么做，他们里面的内部的行政一些可以跟我们解释的一些方针。
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank the Chinese Club of San Marino, President Maggie Lee and Young in particular, and everyone else on the board for inviting me and inviting the police department. Our goal is to make sure everyone is safe in this city, regardless of who you are or what you are, anything and everything. And so that's the reasons why we're here. And I'm looking forward to your questions. I'll have a couple comments, but I want Chunyan to take care of the interpretation part.
谢谢我们的警察局长。那他今天呢，很高兴，谢谢我们的华协、我们的会长、副会长，还有我们所有的理事的邀请，有这个机会可以跟我们的市民呢谈谈关于在这一次亚裔仇恨犯罪的时候，警察局里面有一些可以提供大家的方法。重要的是也想听听各位对这些有相关的问题，他可以在今天做回答。那我会负责做翻译，所以就请大家把你的问题放在 chat box 里面。
Thank you. The good news is so far in San Marino, we have not had any hate crimes or reports of a hate incident. That doesn't mean that those types of incidents are occurring. The research, the data, conversations I have had with some members of the community, my conversations with other law enforcement agencies and support agencies and nonprofits, these things are going on. And events like this allow us to bridge the gap and make sure all of our residents are comfortable in discussing anything, whether they're a victim of a crime, a hateful speech, or a hate incident, and that we're here to, as we say, give you our pride and service and do everything we can to keep you safe.
今天我很高兴跟大家报告，其实有个好消息，就是在圣马力诺市呢，其实我们目前都没有接受过任何有关亚裔仇恨犯罪的，不管是报案或是一些调查，所以这是值得高兴的。那至于说大家知道跟其他的城市呢，或是有一些所谓的非营利组织呢，它在很多的研究报告里面都有说到，事实上亚裔仇恨犯罪在很多地方是真的有在发生的啊。那包括我们的警察局也跟其他的警察局，还有就是非营利团体保持密切联络，它是真的有这些事情正在发生。虽然我们自己圣马力诺市并没有收到相关任何跟亚裔仇恨犯罪相关的，不管是仇恨言论或者是犯罪的报告，但是呢，今天这个机会是主要是让大家可以告诉我们，如果你不管是接受到犯罪或者是仇恨的言语、行为、暴力，这些部分都是我们希望你们可以跟我们一起，然后希望透过这个论坛呢，我们的居民感到很安全，也感到很自然、很愿意把你有遭遇到的问题跟我们警局分享。
Thank you. I think it's important to start out with the definition of what a hate crime is, what a hate incident is, and what is protected speech by the U.S. Constitution. First of all, a hate crime.
I'm going to stop you right away.
Okay.
Okay. 今天其实主要讲的就是所谓的仇恨犯罪，他希望从警察局的角度呢来告诉你它的定义。然后什么样在法律的界限上算仇恨犯罪，然后这些报告，所以这是他今天最主要现在想要能够解释的。Hi, John.
Thank you. So a hate crime is when there's a crime against a person, a group, or property that's motivated by the victim's real or perceived protected social group. And the law protects against many classes of for hate crimes. So a protected social group is based upon race, ethnicity, age, sexual orientation, and several other areas. But those are the primary ones that we deal with all the time.
我们来解释一下所谓的仇恨犯罪的最基本的定义哦。其实警察局长特别讲到，这是一个很完整的法律上的定义。那它最重要就是指针对个人或者是一个有保护的团体。那这保护的团体里面呢，它分为可能是种族、肤色、年龄、性别，甚至是包括一个特别的团体或宗教团体，这是一个已经形成的团体，然后针对它所提供的任何应该是说有相关仇恨或者是不适当的，所以这个是所谓的仇恨犯罪的最基本定义。
An example, because religion is included, is someone goes to a Jewish temple and paints a swastika on the temple, causing a crime of vandalism. That is a hate crime because of the swastika being spray painted on this Jewish temple, and it's related to their fact of their religion. So that's a good example of hate crime.
警察局长举例一个例子，什么样是仇恨犯罪？比如说，你到这个犹太教的教堂，你放了一些关于涂鸦或是不适当的一些标语，放在这个教堂的墙壁上，那这个东西导致成犯罪的这个意图跟行为，跟后来这个就是一个很标准的所谓的仇恨犯罪的一个例子，你针对一个团体，然后做了不适当的举动。
And then a hate incident is an action or behavior motivated by hate, but legally protected by the First Amendment, the right to freedom of expression.
这个不叫犯罪，叫 hate incident， 那就是仇恨的事件的 incident。那这个仇恨的事件里面呢，它指的就是说他在言语上里面如果他因为侵犯人权，宪法上保障的这个自由人身的人权里面的这些所谓的行为，这跟 hate crime 是有点不一样的。
An example of a hate incident is name calling, using a derogatory term about an ethnic group. I'm Italian, I'm Sicilian, and someone may use the term Dago or Wa. There may be insults such as, why don't you and your kind leave this country, usually. They distribute hate material, something that's printed in public places, displaying hate material on the property of the person being attacked. Those are protected by the First Amendment. But,
所以黑incident我们刚刚讲的是仇恨的事件，然后这跟仇恨的犯罪就不一样。但是他呢，比如说警察局长用他自己做例子，那他是意大利后裔，那如果在意大利后裔里面有一些特别形容词是可以针对意大利人的，那这个就会造成种族上的所谓的仇恨。那或者是你去印一些传单，你散发这些传单宣扬一些仇恨的事件，然后这个就是 incident。比如说他甚至在路上叫你说你怎么不回到你自己的国家去，像类似像这样的，这个就是所谓的 incident， 就是仇恨的事件。
Sometimes it can be related to a specific incident or date of the year, such as the Mid-Autumn Festival time or Chinese New Year, and something is done against someone of Asian ethnicity, Asian race. We would like you to report that to us.
他讲的尤其是有关于可能不是 hate crime， 不是犯罪，但是是 hate incident， 就是事件呢。比如说在我们华人过年新年的时候，你感觉到他讲的这些话是有根据仇恨的，然后这个东西事实上你可以是来对圣马力诺市的市警局报告的。
It's important to report even in a hate incident because we can consult with experts in law enforcement and in other fields. We can gain information about what group is involved or what person is involved, where it may be a pattern of activity against a certain group. Protecting and reporting is important. When you report, you're making sure that you're not just protecting yourself, but you're protecting your community.
警察局长特别强调，很多人有时候觉得这些所谓的仇恨事件呢不需要报告，但是事实上我们的警察局希望大家来报告，尤其是让我们的警察局可以透过这些所谓的仇恨事件，找到这些所谓的行为的所谓的模式，然后呢，这些模式也会帮助市警局了解有哪一些正在形成的小团体，或者是这些模式是不是可以被预防，可以更加保护人身的安全。所以希望大家在所谓的仇恨事件呢这个过程中，就要告诉警察局长，所以他们才有办法跟其他相关的组织一起来做咨询、做研究，来怎么样防范未然。
This is extremely important to me because not only have I sworn an oath to protect and serve for 42 years, but as I said, I'm half Sicilian. My stepfather, I was raised by a man who is Jewish, whose family, much of his family perished during World War II. I'm married to a Mexican American. I have two stepchildren my children are Mexican American. My son, who's a police officer, is married to a Kenyan refugee, political refugee. So it's in my family, it's important to me, and it's important to my department. My department is diverse and cares. So that's why if you make a report to us, we take it serious.
我们的警察局告诉大家，警长自己本人呢，已经当了警察超过42年。然后他 自己的背景呢，也跟大家分享，他是意大利裔的移民啊。那更重要的是，他的抚养他长大的家族呢是犹太 Jewish， 然后他自己的太太呢是墨西哥裔，所以他有2个继子，那也都是墨西哥裔。那他的一个儿子呢，甚至是跟一个所谓的来自于非洲的政治难民庇护的人结婚，所以他很了解多元文化的重要，而且他也更加的能够深刻体会，因为他自身的经验。那他也再度跟市民说，圣马力诺市的警局是非常多元化的，你所有的有关相关的这些所谓仇恨事件的报告，他是很认真、很严正的看待这件事情，所以也希望大家了解他个人对这件事情的看重，所以愿意来跟警察局一起配合。
I'm now available for any questions, any clarifications. So now the floor is everybody else's.
所以呢，他基本上今天只是先把定义解释给大家，但是他希望开放所有给市民来问问题，然后希望今天这个论坛呢是透过大家的相关的讨论，他很乐意回答大家任何问题，也希望你们把你的问题呢提供出来。
Okay, Chien, so we got some questions from the chat. I'll ask.
Okay.
Chief, so the first question that we got is, what other efforts have the police department made in the community to educate residents about anti-Asian hate? And I know, Chief, you had mentioned in email that you guys had reached out to some Asian-owned businesses and things like that. So if you can expand on that, I think that was one of the questions that one of the community members had.
Yes, thank you very much.
Before you answer, I need to translate that to Chinese question. Okay. 所以我们刚刚那个样呢，我现在换成中文了。那样刚刚提到，就是有人问的问题呢，是有关于就是目前为止，我们的圣玛丽市的警察局在防范亚裔仇恨这个事件上，有对社区做过什么样的所谓的教育或者是宣导？那有什么样的具体的方案已经做的？那请局长跟我们分享。John。
Thank you. Not only have we reached out to Asian-owned businesses, but we've reached out to all the businesses about safety and crime. We've held town hall meetings. We've held other seminars similar to this. We're part of a citywide community-led coalition to talk about hate crimes, hate incidents, and how do we live together safely? And how do we really make the city better?
警察局长回答就是，事实上，在过去这几个月呢，不只是跟所谓的亚裔的商家，包括我们整个圣玛丽的所有的商家，都有提到如何保持安全，如何了解目前仇恨犯罪的情况。那最近也办了一个所谓的市民讲座的汤后，然后还有就类似像我们华协办的这个方式，那甚至也跟我们全城市的其他相关的所谓的组织呢，有一个叫做联盟那一起讨论有关仇恨犯罪相关需要注意的事情。最重要的就是我们欢迎整个城市的每一个组织跟参与这些讨论。
We also investigate any reports of crime or a hate incident as vigorously as we possibly can. If you recall, there was reports of hate incidents or potential hate crimes arising at the high school and between students.
我们也继续做相关的调查，如果有案件的报道的时候，那像过去曾经有的例子，就是当我们圣马力诺高中有相关可能是仇恨犯罪的事件，或是可能导致的犯罪的事实，他们都有参与调查。
We interviewed the people who made the allegations, who posted the videos, who posted the statements. We reached out to potential and possible victims, but we were not able to identify a crime. We consulted with the district attorney's office and also the FBI to try and identify any potential victims. 在高中的那个特别的事件呢，当时警察局的做法就是
提起这个报告的人，他们也跟他联络，那他们也有去寻找这些可能制造仇恨事件的这些应该说不能说犯罪者，就是他们的制造者，然后还有就是可能受害的这个受害的学生。那在当时那个情况下呢，他们没有办法得到更多的相关证据，能够让它成为一个犯罪的调查。但是在这个过程中呢，他们是跟学区、跟我们的联邦调查局 FBI， 然后都有做所谓的咨询，但最后这件事情并没有走向所谓的犯罪事件跟犯罪事实的继续的调查，但他们是有参与这个调查的过程。
We repeatedly asked people involved to give us information and additional information to determine if we had a crime. We were not able to do that. In some situations, there was no crime. In some situations, there was no hate incident. In some, there were a hate incident, but it was protected by speech, by the First Amendment. And in others, those involved refused to provide or declined to provide additional information that would help us file charges with the district attorney's office.
通常他们在调查犯罪事件的时候呢，有几个很重要的。第一个，比如说他们没有人愿意配合提供更多的证据来让他们证明这个是犯罪的，真的有犯罪的事实。所以有的时候是它不符合犯罪成立的要件，或者是它里面并真的没有仇恨，那或者是他这个提供的条件，这个人的言论是在宪法所保障的这个人就是言论自由。那甚至最重要就是他们找到了可能受害者，可是这些人拒绝提供证词，或者是出面指证，或者是提起诉讼，所以最后大部分目前都没有任何正式成立的所谓的仇恨犯罪事件。
An important part and point, those people that declined to give us additional information, whether they did so based upon fear, intimidation, an unwillingness to participate in the criminal justice system for various personal reasons, or they were embarrassed to become a victim and say publicly they are a victim. We want to assure you that we will not stop investigating these crimes. We want to support you. We will protect you with as much ability we have with the law to protect you. However, the Constitution will require us to divulge names when it comes time for a trial. There may be a time we can keep things confidential, but that's part of our criminal justice and our Constitution in the United States.
警长特别要跟大家讲说，通常有一些人他可能不愿意或是拒绝指证或是参与作证或者是站出来，主要的原因也一部分是因为他自己个人可能不觉得很安全，或者是觉得心理上觉得不好意思，或者是他不愿意参与这个到最后要起诉的过程。因为在美国一旦走上法律的过程，这个名字跟姓名这些东西是会被揭露的，所以有的人可能选择不愿意站到前面。但是不管最后怎么样，站在警察局的立场，他们永远是支持市民的。如果市民需要往前报告，他们会继续调查，他们不会因为任何原因而停下来。但是重点就是，如果没有证人的配合或是受害者的配合，他们最后很可能都没有办法成案。所以这是美国的法律的制度诉讼的制度，所以这是警察局可以做的。
Young, another question?
Hi, Chief. Actually, I wanted to interject something as I was listening. I know that there's always this constant issue with people feeling that something's happened, and a lot of people express things in different ways. I was wondering if you could help clarify for everyone, because I think this is very important that, you know, we live in a world and a city with rules and laws. It's very important for everyone to understand the proper avenues. because, you know, at the Chinese club, oftentimes we get phone calls, and I think people may feel that that's their way of saying, hey, you know, I said something, but nothing happened. Nobody acknowledged me, that kind of thing. So, you know, Chinese club has, in no official capacity, has the ability to, you know, really do much beyond, you know, playing by the rules. So I was wondering if you could just take a few seconds to just, you know, really clarify for everyone, when a hate crime or incident happens, what is the proper channel, whether big or small, whether it's a verbal assault or some comment, as you were mentioning, what is the proper channel that people should take? And I think I have a follow-up comment on that. And sorry, I just kind of interjected it. I don't want to lose that train of thought before we got to the other questions.
Okay.
一样，刚刚我们的副会长讲的就是说，关于刚刚警察局长讲了很多，但他想要更加的详细的了解，到底我们的市民应该要如何联络警察局？如果你遭遇到相关的，你自己觉得这是仇恨的言论、仇恨的事件或者仇恨的犯罪，因为每个人的感觉都不一样。那我们当然要活在美国，一定要根据市政府的或是国家的法律。那圣马力诺华人协会，我们也只是一个所谓的市民服务的组织，我们并没有那个能力去处理这些报告，尤其是我们的办公室有时候也会接到华人的居民的电话，讨论到他们感觉受到不公平的对待，但他们选择不去报诉可能市警长，可能选择告诉华协，那华协事实上是没有能力处理这个的，所以这也是为什么我们觉得希望在这时候问这个问题。
Young, that's a great question. And I think there's two parts to it. First, it's important for people to be able to discuss what may have occurred to them or with them. And talking amongst friends, amongst community members, can be an opportunity to make them feel better. And being part of community forums may be a good avenue. Reporting it to specific organizations such as AAPI, to the LA County Human Relations Commission, may be other ways of doing that.
警察局长讲说，这是一个非常好的问题。那第一件事情，他会跟大家建议的就是，不管你遭遇什么，那能够跟市区或是社区的民众讨论你的感觉是很重要的一件事情，因为呢会帮助你有归属感，而且会有可能在讨论的过程中得到更多的支持。那要加入社区，跟社区的人有够分享是很重要的事情。那当然，在洛杉矶县呢，有所谓的人权服务的这个所谓的委员会啊，那也有一些关于亚裔社区能够报告的，这些都是市民第一个可以做的，可以把这些他自己亲身遭遇的事情跟这个不同的团体分享。
The second part is reporting it to the police department. Or if it occurs here in San Marino to us, or in another city to the other agency.
那另外一步要做的就是打电话给我们的圣马力诺的市警局。如果这件事情发生是在这个圣马力诺市，你就会打给我们；如果是在不同地方，你会打给不同的警局。
That's important because the distinction between a hate incident and a hate crime can become difficult to identify. That's why reporting to us and we contacting experts and our own experts can help us make a determination of what type of incident or crime it is.
为什么打电话给警察局很重要的原因，是因为你也不确定你感觉跟你遭遇的到底是所谓的仇恨犯罪还是仇恨事件。那至于怎么界定它是犯罪还是事件，其实在你跟我们报告的同时，我们会利用我们的专业，也会跟有关仇恨犯罪的相关的专家去界定你所报案的这个东西是属于仇恨犯罪还是仇恨事件。所以不管怎么样，你都应该跟警察局报告。
What we can do with the information is important. If it's material that's placed on your home, if it's a person saying something, and we're able to identify the group that may be behind it. It may be some sort of supremacist group. That helps us locally and regionally to stop what's going on when we are able to. And when it's a crime, we can prosecute with the DA, district attorney, and it doesn't mean that they will be going to jail. It may mean that they will receive counseling, that there may be some other kind of education. But that's important also, that we do take that effort to stop what's going on.
当你跟警察局报告的时候呢，不管是比如说有人丢什么东西或贴什么东西在你的车上或你家里，甚至他当着你的面说了一些事，或者是这是相关的报告呢，当他们收到之后，警察局收到之后呢，他们去研究说这些不管是传单或者他对你说的话背后是不是还有更大的组织或是团体，不管如何，他们去界定它是不是incident 还是事件还是犯罪。如果说只是事件的话呢，可能在社区里面的组织里面，他要想办法在预防，不要再让它更加扩大。可是如果是犯罪的呢，他们就会走到县的所谓的县的检察官 district attorney 县的检察官之后呢，就会起诉这个案件，因为它是 crime， 它是犯罪。但是不代表这个仇恨犯罪就一定所有的人都会抓去关，因为呢要看他仇恨犯罪的内容跟严重的情况。所以有的时候很可能是这个犯罪的这个人呢，可能他是要受再教育，或者是去接受心理辅导，或者是做一些相关其他的方式来矫正他的行为。所以不见得所有因为你报案之后这个人就会抓去关，可是这个很有可能这个人会受到不同的方式去矫正他的行为。
Does that help?
一样可以吗？
Yeah, good for me. I think that's great info. Chief, I know we discussed before does the department have a hotline? And I think where Chinese Club maybe can get involved is not to circumvent the process you have, but perhaps if residents maybe don't feel comfortable using English, they can kind of talk to us. We can maybe act as a proxy to get you the information that you need. But I believe there is a hotline, right, that we can call in, or is it just call the department?
我们要问一下警长，就是刚刚的回答一样觉得非常好，但是想要再加强问说，警察局是不是有一个专门的热线，是关于所谓的仇恨犯罪这个可以报告的？那当然，因为如果是华人讲英文不是很自在的话，那或许华协可以帮忙转达。但是我还是希望警察局可以告诉我们什么是能够跟他们联络的电话，还是说就直接打警察局的总机就好？
That is an outstanding idea. If people would like to send emails to the Chinese Club or call with information and you forward to us. Also, we have a business line that's available 24 hours a day, 626-300-0720, and an email, police@smpd.us. And that email goes to several of us, including myself. And if it's occurred, if it's something that occurred right then, or it's happening right now, call 911. If not, if it happened the day before, several hours earlier, then use that number and that email.
我们的警察局长说，他很感谢我们华协愿意帮忙传递有关于仇恨犯罪的报告。所以，如果是有人寄这个电子邮件或者打电话到华协相关这个，我们可以转给警察局。但是警察局也有24小时的专线，就是626-300-0720。我想9N我们的办公室主任可以打在 chat 上面626-300-0720，这是24小时的专线。我们也警察局的电子邮件呢是 police@ 这个 smpd.us。那我想这个我们都可以在之后再提供给我们所有的居民。但是如果你经历的仇恨犯罪是正在发生，那个时候你打了出来马上报案，你就打911。那如果是比如说你是昨天 今天早上、下午才想要报，或者是就是不是当下的话，当然你可以打电话给圣马力诺警局。但是如果你是当下那个时候你觉得危险，你就是打911。
I want to make one more comment, please. Just, I know that culturally in Chinese culture, Asian culture, we have this very, I don't know if you call it respect or fear. Chief, I've mentioned to you a few times too. Every time we see police, I'm born in the States, but I was taught by my parents, every time we see police, we get very scared. We always tense up, even on the streets, right? That's just kind of how we are. We fear authority, that kind of thing. And of course, you know, nowadays with all the police brutality incidents that are going on, I'm sure there's that whole side of the equation as well. But I just wanted to, you know, make the point that, again, part of this purpose of this forum and this seminar is to bring everyone together. And Chief is here. I mean, he's taking time out of his day to be with us, to educate us. So I don't know what else, you know, the department can do to like extend a hand and say, basically, we're here to help. So hopefully everyone feels it. And at least, you know, we can't change the whole world, but at least in San Marino, we can kind of feel that connection. And I think it's important for everyone to know that, that the police department is here for us. We just need to sometimes understand what can and cannot be done and kind of work our way through those rules to kind of, you know, get what we need done as well.
我们的副会长讲了呢，就是说，他虽然是主持人，但他不打算全部的问题都他一个人问。不过现在他讲最后一个问题，就是因为我们的亚裔呢，可能是文化上的问题，包括他自己虽然是在美国长大，但是他的父母一直告诉他，就是对这个警局跟这个执法人员要存有敬畏之心跟尊敬的心，所以很自然的，我们看到执法人员的时候，我们好像就比较小心翼翼，然后可能不会说太多的话，可能也没有那么强烈的连结关系。那我们很感谢警察局长这次愿意跟我们一起，然后了解我们亚裔社区。那也希望今天参加的所有的居民呢，了解就是美国的相关的法律可以做跟不可以做，跟你必须怎么做，我们自己必须也要愿意做这些事情，因为警察局长可以。不管再怎么样的，欢迎大家来跟他保持连结、报案或者是咨询。可是最重要的是，我们的居民必须愿意这么做，他才听得到大家的需要。所以这也是为什么我们今天是马利诺华协举办这个所谓的论坛，请警察局长来，他也很乐意的来。
The first thing I want to say is, police across this country have done some pretty terrible and criminal things to other human beings. For those that have committed those crimes, they need to be held accountable. Not just that officer that killed George Floyd. I believe that was criminal. I've stated that for a long time. We need to be held accountable. Forums like this hold us accountable. Our actions and our ability to get along with our community and serve our community, I think illustrate what we do and how we do it.
警察局长要特别强调，就是他个人呢也了解，就是不是每一位警察做的每一件事情都是对的。那当然，过去1年中间，警察跟一些可能做的不适当甚至被起诉的案件，他个人也曾经发表过他个人的看法。他也认为有些警察的所谓的行为是犯罪行为，所以他也是认为该被处罚。但是他也希望大家了解，就是怎么样跟大家合作。然后他也不否认，我们在这个警民关系、警察跟人民关系之间呢，我们是要互相配合的。
The other part to this question is, how do we open our arms and accept all members of this community? Part of the way to do that is through a diversity in our hiring. It's very difficult for us to recruit and hire police officers of Asian descent, and especially those that speak Mandarin or other languages that are just as important. We look to you, the community, to help us.
所以警察局长说呢，另外一件事他觉得很重要的就是如何跟多元化的社区有更好的连接。其中一个做法就是 雇佣多元化的警员，所以这个包括在语言上，那当然要雇佣能够讲到中文华语的警员不是那么容易，但他们会继续朝这个目标。那但也是为什么他需要跟社区的团体像华协一样一起合作。
We have several officers that are of Asian descent. We have one officer, unfortunately, who speaks, that's it, who speaks Mandarin. It's difficult because this profession is not looked upon in a way that people want to become police officers. You're not going to make a lot of money, but you're going to be able to serve the community. It is a profession that's honorable, and it is a profession that I have loved for 42 years.
目前我们圣玛利诺警局是有几位亚裔的警员，但是只有一位警员是会说华语的啊。那也因为这样子，所以有点在服务社区上是有一点点资源受限。那又加上警察局这个警员的工作呢，薪资呢也是他们能够雇佣到会讲双语的这个警员的原因。但是他身为42年来的警察生意这么久，他还是非常注重跟社区的关系的。
I encourage all of you to reach out to your friends, your families, to those people that may be thinking about becoming a police officer. Send them our way. We'd love to have them part of the department. They will serve their community. And I will forward all the information about recruitment for our police officer and our police cadet, which is a college-aged applicant. To the Chinese Club so that they can help us with recruitment.
他很希望能够拜托大家告诉亲朋好友，如果有适当的人愿意来申请我们圣玛利诺警察局的职位更重要，他如果是双语的话，他很欢迎，他也会把这个警察局在雇佣的资料呢放到我们华协来。那希望他也可以多多雇佣会讲华语的，是双语的这个警员，能够帮助社区。
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Chief, it's about to get real. So here's some questions, and I'm going to consolidate. So if anyone on the chat, if I don't represent you well, please let me know, but I feel like they're all very related. So I'm going to ask this question in 3 parts. Basically, it has to do with what do we do when we're actually facing something that happens in public? So how do we deal with a verbal or physical racial hate speech motivated attack in public? You know, in absence of other people seeing it, what do we do? Are we allowed to arm ourselves? I think there was an example of a lady in San Gabriel who walks around with some sort of stick or a tool that kind of, you know, deters attacks, etc. There's also a question about pepper spray. So the first part of the question would be, I guess, you know, things like this, how do we deal with incidents? How do we try to avoid them? Second of all, if it's actually happening, like we're walking our dog and someone approaches us with a verbal attack or physical attack, what can we or can we not do while it's happening? And then there's the post, which is, do we get in trouble if we fight back? If we yell something back or we physically get into some altercation, do we get in trouble? So that's kind of the overall question, I believe, like when it's actually happening, how do we handle?
这个问题呢，就是一些大家都问的相关，然后我们的副会长要把它做一个整合这个一连串的问题就是相关于，如果你走在这个公共场合，那公共场合里面有人用语言的暴力来仇恨你，那他讲的关于是种族方面的歧视，不管碰到这样的情况，我们身为一个走在路上甚至带着狗去散步的人，我们要怎么面对？我们什么样可以做的，什么是不可以做的？那最近有看到有人身上会带着什么这个辣椒喷枪啊，或者带着一个棍子啊，或者带一个什么，然后防身啊。那这个我们什么是能做的，什么是不能做的啊？那我们如果真的做了，会不会自己惹上官司，有了麻烦？所以这些都是比较事实具体的一些问题。那我们就麻烦请他局长帮我们回答。
Great question. First of all, if someone approaches you and makes hateful speech. If it's words only, remember what the words are, become a good witness, get information about where you are, the date and time, get a great description of the person, look around for other witnesses. When the person leaves, ask those witnesses for their information and call us.
有关第一个就是，如果有个人，当你在公共场合里面对你讲了关于仇恨这种种族的言语的时候，你呢，那如果他只有讲话没有行为，只是讲话而已呢，你要做的第一件事情是，记录下来这是在哪里、什么时间发生的，比如几月几号在哪个公园，然后你能够，如果你有办法把他讲的话都也记下来。他到底讲了什么？然后还有就是说，你身边是不是有证人？当你有这些资料的时候，打电话给警察局，把你刚刚我们说必须收集的这些资料就打电话给警察局。
Hate speech is highly charged. It is anger. It is hatred. And you need to think, if you engage back with them, is that going to create more of a problem? Is that going to compromise my personal safety or the safety of the people I'm with? If you have children, I would think twice about saying something in response.
有关于仇恨的这种所谓的言语啊，其实它里面有很多愤怒跟仇恨才会有这样的语言，所以警察局长告诉大家，就是当你当下听到这个的时候，你要想清楚，如果你旁边有小孩，你是不是要跟他展生在语言上的对峙，或者跟他有回话？那你会不会考虑到你个人人身的安全？所以在你决定要跟他有任何所谓的语言上的交流的时候，你要先想这件事情。
You can't use physical force against someone for speech, hateful speech or hate incident. If you do, then you're committing a crime. It has to be, you just can't use physical force. You can't strike them with a stick. You can't spray them with pepper spray unless the actions, the words turn into actions to where you believe your safety is in peril. And you will have to be able to tell us why.
如果说人家只是在语言上有仇恨的这些行为，就是语言而已，没有动作，那你如果因此而有了所谓的行动去防卫自己，那如果这个行动有可能会变成你反而变成犯罪者。所以你是不可以，比如说他讲了一些所谓仇恨的话，然后你就拿这个棍子或者是拿这个辣椒喷剂去喷他，这是不可以的。但是如果他讲完话之后还有动作，让你感到那个动作会让你觉得人身安全受到威胁的时候，你才有可能有所谓的行动上的反击。而且你当警察到的时候，你还必须要解释你为什么这么做。
If you're being attacked, you should protect yourself. You should use what means are necessary for you to protect yourself. Hopefully that doesn't occur. But again, call us immediately. And that becomes a hate crime because it's connected to a crime against you, the battery or the assault.
如果不是言语，不止言语，而是你真的觉得他在攻击你，那这个行为上有攻击你的，当然任何一个人都出于自卫，要保护你自己，所以那个时候你当然要防卫自己。那但是在同时，你要马上打电话给警察局。那这个就是变成，当他已经有行为来攻击你的时候，这个就已经是所谓的犯罪，就是 hate crime 了。那这个就他这个是不一样，跟刚刚你说的只是讲话是不一样。
Did that explain it, or do you have additional follow-up?
I think that was a very thorough answer. If anyone asked the question in the chat, didn't get the response that they were looking for, please ask the question again in the chat. I think that was very good. The one thing I would also ask is more on the preventative side. So are there things that we can do to be less of a target? And I speak for myself again, which is, I think a lot of folks on the call today are all parents with kids at school. So how do we educate our kids, and how do we arm our kids with the right knowledge so that they know how to deal with these situations when it happens at school? Because kids don't necessarily, they're not able to process all the consequences of their actions that fast. So what are some of the things that we should be, helping to prepare our kids for these types of activities, and so that they're ready to face these if they face them, whether it be out on Huntington Drive or whether they're at school, that kind of thing. And I guess the follow-up on that would also be, when it happens at school, is that something that's at the jurisdiction of the school, that we should handle it within the ecosystem of, HMS or the high school, or is that something that we also need to involve the police with?
样刚刚对这个警察局的回答，他觉得非常的完整，但是也欢迎所有的居民，如果你觉得你的特别问题没有被回答，你可以在我们的 chat box 里面再写。那样也做了另外一个问题，就是说，除了刚刚讲的怎么样，万一发生了你要怎么自卫，那可不可以讨论到关于怎么样预防这样的事情的发生？尤其是身为孩子的家长，我想我们很多今天参加的人都是家长，那你的孩子可能在学校里碰到他觉得可能导致他觉得这是仇恨的事件的时候，他的要如何反应？那还有就是说，如果他是在学校的场合发生的时候，还是继续报告给警察吗？还是说这是属于学区的事情？还是说两边都要报告？那不管他们这个跟学生同学之间发生是在马路上下课以后，还是在学校的上学时间，都请的警察局局长告诉我们，怎么样预防我们比较年轻的学子，初中、高中，他们自己并不知道这个仇恨犯罪的定义，或者怎么样面对的时候应该怎么做。
Let me answer this with a personal experience. My two children, my wife's children, are Mexican Americans. We've had conversations with them about what they should do, because they've become victims of hate speech and how to handle that. I also have two of my grandsons are biracial. They're 1 and 3 years old. So between myself, my son, and my daughter-in-law, we'll be having those conversations with them.
先让我从我自己的本身的例子，因为我自己就是个家长，我太太是墨西哥裔，所以我们有2个继子，就是所谓的西语裔的学生，那他们事实上就有遭遇到所谓的这个仇恨的言论啊，那他们也是有这样的经验。那身为父母呢，我们必须跟孩子讨论，谈论有关于仇恨言论跟事件的这些相关事情。他自己的另外一个儿子跟儿媳呢，有几个3岁的婴儿一样，他们也必须要讨论这个问题，在家庭里面都必须讨论有关于这个仇恨的言论跟仇恨事件。
The best advice is similar to what I said if it occurs to you or someone you know in the street. Make note of what was said, where it was said. If we respond back, it could cause an altercation. It could cause a lot of anger. I want people to be safe, and it's not being cowardly. It's not being afraid. It's making sure you're safe. Because some people that are motivated to make comments, hateful comments, do hateful things to other people are not good folks at all. And I want to make sure that you're safe.
其实警察局长说，不管是针对孩子在学校还是在路上，其实就像他刚刚之前在讲说，如果你遭遇到有人在语言上对你说了所谓的仇恨的言论的时候，他跟对孩子一样的方法都是一样，就是你记录在什么时候发生，在什么地方发生，他讲了什么。最重要的是，你必须要保证自己的安全。所以 他希望所有的家长跟孩子知道，就是有的时候，当这个人讲了所谓的仇恨的言论，你要继续回应他之前，你要想清楚，你的人身安全是最重要的，并不代表你不回答他，你就是懦夫，或者是你不敢面对人家的挑战。其实你要想想，这些会说这样仇恨言论的话，绝大多数人也就不是好人，所以他是在挑衅你。所以如果你因为他的挑衅而造成更多的事后的其他一连锁的反应的话，不见得是对你人生最安全的。所以就像他刚刚一直讲的，就是怎么样报告一样，就是记录下来发生了什么事，什么时间、什么地点讲了什么话，然后报告给警察。
When comments are made to your children, encourage them to tell you as soon as possible. If it happens at the school, and if you as a parent have discussed this, and I invite you to discuss these things with your children, they should do what you've decided, whether telling you first or telling the school authorities. If it happens in the street, please contact us. If it happens in the school, you should report it to the school, but then again, let us know too, so we can work with the school and determine what's appropriate. Because as I've said before, hate speech can be related to something more sinister, to something more serious. We have a great partnership with the schools. And I think allowing us to partner with the schools and partner with the families and the victims, it will be a better outcome for everyone.
尤其是小孩子，我鼓励所有的家长呢，要跟你的孩子常常的对话，然后要鼓励他们，告诉你发生了什么事，而且是在事情发生越快，在越短的时间内告诉你。那如果是发生在学校的校园里面的有关仇恨的言论呢，小孩子应该赶快告诉家长，然后跟家长的讨论之后再来决定告诉学校。那当然你也可以，他也鼓励大家再告诉警察。原因是因为这样警察局可以主动跟学校配合，然后来了解这件事情的更多的背景资料。那同时呢，其实仇恨的言论呢，它之后可能会造成更多的，如果你不制止它的话，它之后有可能会更严重。所以他们希望在越早的时候知道这件事情。那但是如果你在校园里，你绝对是要告诉学校、告诉家长。然后他们也希望你告诉警察局，但是如果是走在马路上离开了校园，你可以就像刚刚说的，你可以打电话给警察。可是因为他们是孩子，所以还是鼓励他们第一个应该告诉一定是告诉家长。
Okay. The next question/comment is related to the Coffee with a Cop series that we used to have. So, Chief, I don't want to put you on the spot or speak for you, but there definitely seems to be a desire to bring that back. And I know that COVID kind of made it a little bit more difficult, but I think as things ease up, there seems to be definitely a desire to bring back those, you know, very casual meetups that we used to have at the Chinese club. So I think the question was, you know, will we bring those back, and is the department willing to continue having those with the Chinese club?
We will have those.
Let me translate first. I know you eager to answer. It's okay. 刚刚要说呢，刚刚在很多的chat里面呢，居民有聊到说，以前我们事实上有跟警察局这个叫做喝咖啡对谈。那当然，因为现在因为这个新冠肺炎的关系呢，所以当然大家都没有办法碰面。但是也希望通过今天这个论坛，问问警察局长，就是我们未来怎么样可以跟他们密切的也要对话。
Sorry.
It's okay.
As I've done in the 6.5 years I've been here, and my officers have also done, we will continue those Coffee with the Cops. We're looking for whatever we can do to meet with the company, with the community. I joke that I will come to the opening of a door. So whatever you want me to do, we will have either myself or someone there to talk, well, and more importantly, to listen to how we can do a better job. We also have the Public Safety Commission where people can come and talk about things affecting the community. And you're more than encouraged to contact any member of the council, the Public Safety Commission, my department, myself, and we will listen and talk and try and make this a better place.
警察局长回答，他在圣马力诺警察局已经担任超过6年半的时间了，他一直都非常乐意跟我们的社区保持连结，所以他绝对会继续办这个所谓的跟警察喝咖啡的活动。那只要大家愿意开放你的门，他很愿意去聆听，然后跟您对话。那圣马力诺市有一个叫做公共安全委员会 （Public Safety Committee）， 那里面有各个的委员那你也可以跟他们联络。如果你觉得有除了跟警察局之外，你对这个社区的公共安全有任何关系，也可以联络这个所谓的公共安全委员会。
Okay, and the next question we have is related to kind of, safeguarding the cities. Are there ways to request donations or funds towards more surveillance in the city to increase safety? Can these cameras and other devices, technology essentially, be used to potentially protect against hate crimes, things of that nature? I think the question relates to, are there technologies that we can bring in, and also are there ways that we can directly help to fund those efforts?
有关公共安全的部分，大家提到就是如何利用科技呢，能更加的监测我们城市里发生的犯罪行为。那这也可以使用在仇恨犯罪中间。那尤其是所谓的监视画面、监视器那是不是需要我们大家捐款，或者是你没有钱可以买？那如何使用这些这个高科技来防止更多的犯罪？
Thank you for that question. There's several things we can do. We currently have 22 flock safety cameras that read license plate readers, that read license plates throughout the city. We're asking for 8 additional. Those cameras provide us with information about vehicles that are wanted or may be involved in a crime. They've been very successful the past 9-10 months that we've had them.
我们关于所谓的监测系统呢，其实圣马力诺市目前有24个监测的机器在我们城市里面。那它主要的运作呢是在看车子的牌照。那目前他们还希望再加8个。那这些所谓的监视系统照的这车辆的资料呢，事实上在过去9到10个月非常的有效，在追捕犯罪跟犯罪的行为调查的时候是非常有用的。
We are asking for 8 additional during this budget coming up. And also the company can place cameras, people can purchase, or rather they lease these cameras, and they can put them on poles at along their street. Those can be paid either individually through the company and or you can donate funds directly to the department, to the city, or we have the San Marino Police Foundation, fairly new organization that will take donations, and it's there for programs and equipment for the police department that wouldn't normally be obtained through the budget process, just like any other foundation. And that's a 501c3, as any donation to the city or department is.
市警局现在正在跟我们的市政府要求再增加8个所谓的监视系统，这个预算正要被审核。同时呢，任何一个居民或者是公司想要在你家门前或那条路上的这个所谓的电线杆或灯旁边装这个所谓的照相系统，事实上你是可以个人去购买装在那里的。那另外一个就是你也可以捐款给圣马力诺警察局成立的基金会，叫 Marino Police Foundation， 这是新成立的非营利组织，它是可以接受捐款的。那可以帮助警察局购买不管是设备，或者是在某一些所谓的重要的执行的计划，都可以帮助警察局来执行，所以这个是市民可以做的。
The our Parks and Public Works Department has an excellent app where you can report problems with the street, trees, etc. And I believe our Community Development Department is also working on an app. And we would like to do the same thing, whether we work in conjunction with the rest of the city departments or we create our own where you can report information. And it may be an anonymous reporting, or you can contact us about incidents that you see. But we would like to do that also.
另外一件事情是警察局想做的，就是可能设立一个特别关于报案的方法的一些手机程式 App。那目前我们圣马力诺城市里有关于2种 App， 有的是关于这个树倒啦，或者是一些社区上的一些设施需要被整修的，这些都有他自己的手机应用程式。所以警察局也希望能够朝这个方向成立一个所谓的手机应用程式，然后或许这个在报案的过程中，它是可以不需要公开真实姓名，可以匿名的报案。所以这也是他希望能够朝向用高科技的方法。
It's very important to remember if it's a crime in progress or it's a crime that had just occurred to please call us. Call that the business line or 911 if it's an emergency. We're also open to anyone who has some ideas on technology that they're aware of that may help us do a better job for the community.
警察局长要特别强调，就是说，如果这个犯罪的事实正在发生的时候，当然你就直接打我们刚刚说的那个926的电话24小时或者911。但是我们也欢迎任何市民，如果你对这些所谓的高科技有什么其他的建议也可以跟我们分享。我们希望能够利用高科技来防治犯罪。
Okay, I think the final question that we have today, Chief, again, don't want to put words in your mouth, but do we have a program geared towards kids, geared towards students, and is that something that we can host specifically for kids so that they can hear straight from you as far as what to do, what to look for, and how they should be reporting and handling these situations? I think arming our kids again with the knowledge is the most important piece, so that they know how to handle the situations. I'm guessing a lot of kids may be facing things and they don't want to say anything, and that could lead to them not wanting to go to school, et cetera, it can just even get worse and worse. So that question was posed in the chat as well.
我们有另外一个可能今天的最后一个问题了那最重要其实就是有关于孩子。那不晓得圣马力诺警察局会不会有一个特别的一个教育计划或社区宣导计划，是专门针对学龄的小孩的，让他们了解他们自己应该怎么面对，怎么通报当这个犯罪事实发生，或是怎么去回应当事情正在发生的过程中。很多的小孩可能不愿意跟父母讲，或者是父母没有办法跟他聊，甚至有可能就是因为其实他发生的遭遇的一些事导致他不想去上学，那这些东西都会是有相关连带性的所以希望这个警察局长可以来针对学龄的孩子，警察局有没有什么特别的计划来帮助他们？
We don't have a program with youth now. I think it's a great idea. Perhaps we can start with the Chinese school and then work with the school district to see what they would like us to do, whether we work through their wellness program, we work through organizations such as Partnership for Awareness. But anytime the police department has an opportunity to speak to our youth, it's extremely important. And whether they want an old guy like me or one of our younger officers who can probably relate a little bit better, we're open for anything. But that is a very good idea, and we are open to developing that kind of program.
警察局长非常的诚实告诉我们，现在事实上并没有关于针对孩子的这个特别的所谓的教育计划，但是他认为这是一个非常好的建议，那他也很乐意如果有这样的机会，所以或许可以透过先从我们的圣马力诺中文学校，或者是透过学区的邀请，那甚至我们知道我们学区这个有一个叫做 Partnership for Awareness， 事实上是各个所谓的 PTA 学生家长组织所联合的一个这个 PFA 呢，或许可以也办一些让他们的警察局的警员呢可以直接面对这些小孩子回答问题。那他知道他自己有一点年纪了，如果想要找更年轻的警员跟这些孩子对话也是可以的，他也很乐意有这样的对话的机会，所以他认为这是一个非常好的建议。
Okay. All right, so I think we're out of questions. As a matter of closing, just wanted to, again, thank you, Chief Encontro. I see Chief Ueda was on as well. Really appreciate you guys' time today. And Chief, again, thank you for sharing your personal stories. I think there was some comments in the chat that everyone really appreciated that. It really shows that, you know, you're not just here as kind of like a talking head, but you're actually feeling it as well. You're feeling, you're feeling the pain along with us. So we definitely appreciate you sharing those personal stories. And I think the point is of today's seminar, and really the position of the Chinese Club really is, we just want to be able to communicate facts between different groups, and whether, you know, we don't want to let language be the barrier for us. And if we can just get the facts between people, between different groups, and bring everyone together. I think a lot of this stuff roots from miscommunication, not understanding situations. So the more opportunity that we have to hear directly from one another and collect this feedback, I think this is the thing that's really going to help us the most. So again, really appreciate the time, and also appreciate Chief Encontro and also Chief Ueda for coming this morning at 9:30. We presented the two departments on behalf of one of our members and also Chinese Club with you know, $10,000 checks. So we're hoping, and we know this will go to good use in terms of just helping the community and trying to make a difference in the community and help the department as much as we can. And, you know, always appreciative of the help from both departments as well.
我们今天的主办呢，人特别感谢我们的警察局长哦，因为在他分享的过程中，你可以感觉到他是感同身受，站在我们的立场，他自己也身为一个家长，也身为一个多种主义的父母，所以他非常的能够体会我们身为华人的感觉。那这华人协会其实最重要就是根据事实。根据法律跟政府可以做的事情，我们希望做一个沟通的角色。那可能因为居民因为语言上的问题，所以我们愿意透过这个平台来做更多的交流。那我们相信很多事情有时候是透过因为没有好好的沟通或者是误解，那可能要增加更多的互动，才能够有互相更好的回应，然后对社区所有的事情会更加的了解。那所以这也是我们华协成立的宗旨，成为一个桥梁，能够帮助我们的社区跟我们的城市。那另外就是今天早上9点半的时候呢，我们事实上华协透过我们一个我们的会员的捐款，事实上我们也转赠了1万块美金给我们的警察局。我们相信警察局会把这1万块美金呢好好的使用，来帮助我们的社区更加的安全。那我们也谢谢警察局长今天加入我们的活动。
Well, if I can just say one last thing, I want to, Young, thank you very much for the outstanding work you did today. To Chunyan, thank you. To the board and all the members of the Chinese Club, your generosity, your support is exceptional. I am honored and privileged to be your police chief. And my goal is your safety and well-being. And we do take this serious, all the men and women of the San Marino Police Department, and I know throughout the city, our employees. So thank you again, and I deeply appreciate the generous donation. Thank you.
警察局长说，如果在最后他可以再多说一些，想要谢谢圣马利诺华协的理事跟会员们对我们警局的支持。那他身为警察局长，他也非常注重我们社区的人身安全。那也希望透过跟华协的合作，我们大家最终的目的就是希望我们的社区更加的安全。你感到住在这个社区里面，你是觉得身心灵都是感到安全的。所以也谢谢大家，也谢谢华协这一次捐款给警察局。那我们真的很感谢大家的支持。
Okay. And thank you to all the participants, all the community members that joined the meeting today. Very, very good questions.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time.
Have a wonderful day.